Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salazar Jr. You can find the podcast and the blog at spacecadetsports.substack.com. You go there for the whole Space Cadet experience, where you can find articles, memes, game reactions, series previews, all kinds of silliness there. Go ahead and go check it out. Go give me a subscribe. Go figure out where all the Houston Astros diehards should be hanging out, folks. This is a podcast and blog for Houston Astros fans by a Houston Astro fan. Sports. Everyday sports reporting can sometimes be a little negative, so it's me trying to do it from a fan perspective and to have a little bit of positivity and optimism. We're still going to be talking some trash. We're still going to be making some jokes. We're still going to look at the team realistically, but it's more about just not doing it in a crazy, toxic way that it just seems like is just surrounded by negativity. The media is always surrounded by negativity these days, so why should your sports media be making you feel bad? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what this podcast is about. A little quick mission statement for you there. I'm Paul Salazar Jr. I am an entertainment professional. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. I am a Houston native, running around those Astrodome bases as a young boy, but now I live in Los Angeles. I've lived over here for the last decade plus as a joke writer, comedy writer, actor, just general silly person in the entertainment industry. And I've been out here so long doing so many different things, and I just wanted a passion project. I wanted something for me, and that's what I did here with this Houston Astros podcast and this blog. It's just something I'm really passionate about is Houston Astros baseball. I've been following them since the 90s, so I'm your guy when it comes to fan takes, when it comes to kind of Houston Astros homerism, with some logic mixed in there. I while I love the Astros, I do try to have one foot firmly planted in reality, and the other one is always just pure silliness, not planted in anything whatsoever. But welcome to the podcast, folks. We have a lot to talk about on the pod today. It's hard to not bury the lead here. Obviously, the Astros had a great game. They walked off. Got a walk-off win, I should say, in extra innings in the 10th inning in the game yesterday against the Oakland A's. But the biggest headline, the thing that everybody's going to be talking about, and the thing that sadly I have to talk about as well, is going to be Ronel Blanco. Unfortunately for the Astros, Ronel Blanco was ejected in the 4th inning of yesterday's game. So I say let's just, why beat around the bush? Why bury the lead? Why try to find a way to make more jokes and not talk about the thing that I'm here to talk about? Let's get to Ronel Blanco. So Ronel Blanco, he was, kind of a standard start for Ronel Blanco in this game. He had 3 innings of great baseball. I believe even shutout baseball. I'm checking my notes here. Yeah. He got in 3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Obviously, no runs. He went back to take the mound at the top of the 4th inning. It looked like, one of the officiating crew was kind of waiting there for him, kind of between the dugout and the mound to check his glove. They asked for his glove, motioned for the other crew to join them on the field, they just kind of stood around feeling the glove like they've never felt a glove before, and trying to determine what to do with Ronel Blanco next. I don't understand this. First and foremost, if there was any kind of stickiness in his glove, why need to kind of mull it over with the whole crew. That seemed like if there was stickiness in the glove, you just eject them, right? So that's why I'm like, I think this isn't your standard stickiness. The quote from the umpire is, "It was the stickiest stuff I ever felt in my life." Okay, if that was the case, it seems like that would be just an automatic ejection and not a conversation, right? So that's something I don't understand. I think what they were trying to do was determine you know, if it was rosin and sweat. And if it was rosin and sweat, if they would allow Ronel Blanco to just use another glove. It's kind of bizarre. It kind of, to me, it really stunk of these umpires really making the game about themselves, really trying to be kind of ridiculous. There's been a lot of this going on this season, and when I say kind of ridiculous, I mean fully ridiculous. There's been a lot of umpire foolishness this season. I feel like they know that robo umps could be the thing of the future, so they're like, we better get some screen time this season before it's too late. We need to get that screen time. This was Laz Diaz's crew. Laz Diaz ended up making the call and ejecting Ronel Blanco. I believe this is the third pitcher that Laz Diaz, Laz Diaz and his crew ejected. Really kind of getting up there to those, I believe those, Phil Cousin numbers. That other umpire that loves ejecting people. I just didn't get it in the moment. Obviously, while watching the game live, there wasn't a lot of commentary that could tell you what was going on while you were watching it. Watching it live, I was like, okay, they're trying to determine what exactly this is and what exactly their next move is going to be as an officiating crew. And that's why I was like, okay, I don't think this is an illegal substance. This isn't sticky stuff. They're just trying to figure out what exactly this substance is, if it's something that could give them an advantage, and if there's precedent for what they do here. And they just went ahead and went with the ejection because I think that was just kind of the boldest move and the safest move for the umpires to make. They did take his glove immediately. They sent it out to the CSI crime lab to get it checked out for illegal substances. Yeah, so that's exactly what happened. Now, after the game, manager Joe Espada, he did say, basically, I don't have the quote in front of me, but his quote basically was that in the non-pitching, on his non-pitching hand, obviously in the glove, there was a mixture of sweat and rosin, and it is illegal for the pitcher to have rosin on your non-pitching hand. So that is why Ronel Blanco was ejected, because it is illegal to have rosin on your non-pitching hand, and it seemed like the mixture of sweat and rosin in the glove created a sticky substance that the umpire called the stickiest substance he's ever felt in his life, which I'm just gonna say that is definitely hyperbole. I there's no way. There's no way this is the stickiest substances, man. They check gloves and hands all the time. He's done previous ejections with illegal substances. If rosin mixed with Ronel Blanco's sweat is the stickiest substance he's ever felt in his life, that would be shocking to me. I don't buy it. I think that's hyperbole, and I think that's the umpire trying to save face and explain why they made the ejection decision. Yeah, so I think, when we get to it, rosin is the bag, it is a substance that's in the bag that pitchers use on the mound all the time. It is a substance that the game provides to the pitcher. So it's not from where I'm sitting right now, and I could eat these words, of course, if Ronel Blanco was using spider tack or sticky stuff, in the pocket of his glove, or I should say inside of his glove, then yeah, we may have to eat these words later. But from where I'm standing and what's going on right now, it seems like he legitimately had rosin and sweat in that glove, and that's where the confusion was coming from. The Astros are saying that's what it was. The officiating crew is not saying that it 100% was an illegal substance. If this was rosin mixed with sweat in his glove, I'm kind of frustrated. That is something that the league provides for the pitchers. And yes, it's illegal for it to be on the non-dominant pitching hand. But can I ask you, if the pitcher can have rosin and sweat mixed together on his pitching hand, or even I've seen some pitchers, they have kind of like a little bit of rosin and sweat, I guess, on the bill of their hat. There's been some people who have used sticky stuff on their thigh. Like, if you could use rosin mixed with sweat on your pitching hand, but you can't have it on your non-pitching hand, what sense does that make? What advantage do you gain by having it on your non-pitching hand if you can still put it on your pitching hand, right? I mean, I don't understand. Like so, rosin, is something that pitchers use all the time. They've always used it. I mean, I guess there had to be a year that rosin was introduced to baseball, so they couldn't have always used it. But for the longest time, it's something that pitchers have used. It has been a legal substance. It's on the damn field. So, it's just kind of my frustration is it isn't like, at least so far from what we can tell them, the information that we know, it isn't like Ronel Blanco went out there with spider tack in his glove or was bringing some kind of illegal substance onto the field. He was using the substance that Major League Baseball gives you to get a grip on the ball. Major League Baseballs are famously hard to grip. The Major League Baseballs are manufactured by, you guessed it, Major League Baseball, and they kind of, if you compare them to any other kind of manufactured baseball, or like I know other podcasters have mentioned this, and it is true if you like compare it to the grip on like a collegiate baseball or just any other kind of baseball any other league could use. The Major League Baseball feels slick. It's almost like, it's made out of like a I can't like a ceramic bowl material, almost like it just made to slip out of your hand and have a little sheen to it almost. So these baseballs are famously hard to grip. They give you rosin so that you can grip the ball better, and when your sweat mixes with rosin, it makes an illegal substance. So we do not know for sure right now if Ronel Blanco is intentionally mixing his sweat with rosin in his glove, or here's just a little something for you Astros fans out there, or, I don't know if you've watched a lot of the games, but Ronel Blanco probably wins the award for the past 2 seasons for sweatiest pitcher. This man is out there pitching his heart out, and not trying to roast Ronel Blanco here. He's getting a lot of it already, but the man looks like he's just been dipped in water when he's out there pitching. And these Fanatic jerseys are definitely not helping him out. He is just drenched while he's out there. I mean, it doesn't help when you pitch in Houston, Texas, and the humidity. You're basically out there walking through soup. So this man sweats a lot. The way gravity works, for those of you who don't know this, I know there's a lot of you out there that are flat earthers, and a lot of you out there that believe a lot of crazy stuff nowadays. Like if you don't know about gravity, you hold your glove down, your sweat can pool a little bit in your glove if you are a prolific sweater like Ronel Blanco. So there is even, I think, the potential that this wasn't even something he was trying to do to create a reservoir of stickiness with rosin and sweat. But it's just kind of baffling to me. It's like, okay, you can use rosin, but you can't use too much rosin and sweat, or else it's illegal. Then just take it out of there if you don't want them to have the rosin. If you're trying to make it even, it just seems like the league is trying so hard to make it difficult for pitchers to pitch, and and so that they can get the offensive numbers up. They added the pitch clock, they eliminated the sticky stuff. It seems like they're trying to they have all these new pitching rules. They're trying to make it a whole lot harder for pitchers to pitch in this game, so that for the sake of offense, even to the detriment of pitchers' health to some degree. Now I'm not saying that all these pitchers' injuries are 100% the fault of the pitch clock, but it definitely does contribute to that. So I'm just saying this league doesn't care about pitchers or the health, or the players, I should say. Even they don't care about the health of their players. They just care about offense so that they can sell the game. I think that this is just a load of BS. I think it's it doesn't help the Astros optics. Everybody of course just was so giddy to wake up to be able to write articles and news about cheaters be cheating, bang bang. And just so you know, I do say that with the alternating caps and lowercase. It's some really clownish takes. I can't. It's really hard to see, but watching the game last night, I was like, oh boy. Here comes a storm. I can't wait to see all the terrible memes and the articles coming out tomorrow. But you just kind of have to take that in stride, folks. You have to take the jokes. We make jokes about other teams. Other teams are going to make jokes about us. You kind of have to take the good with the bad. But there is always going to be a lot of jokes about Houston. You just have to kind of take that. But it was frustrating to know that would be the case. So Ronel Blanco, does have the possibility of being suspended for 10 games because that is the league suspension for sticky stuff infractions. The glove has been sent off to the league. So far as of the recording of this podcast, I don't have any breaking news about what they have determined about the substance or about the suspension. Ronel Blanco has also said that if he is suspended, that he will appeal. Not to throw shade at other pitchers, but Max Scherzer also got in trouble with some sticky stuff before, and nobody's, bad talking his name too much. It happens. Max Scherzer used sticky stuff. He got ejected and suspended, and he did appeal. I believe he was able to get that appeal down to just being suspended for a couple games. I think he missed one start instead of two, and the team was able to only be without him and down a pitcher for a couple of games as opposed to 10 games, which is highly important because for those of you who do not know, if the pitcher is suspended because of sticky stuff infraction for 10 days, the team is not allowed to replace that pitcher on the roster. So it would be exceedingly difficult not only for the Astros to be down a pitcher in their rotation for the next 10 or so days when they are in the middle of this tough May run when it comes to days off. This is definitely compared to March and April an easier strength of schedule, but when you look at how many games they have to play in a row, being down a pitcher spot and being down a starting pitcher would pretty much assure that the Astros would have a very spread thin bullpen and would probably have to have some position players pitching at least one inning of one game during that stint. I would just say, outright, especially the way that the Astros starters pitching has been really hot and cold. We're still looking for some stability generally from all of the starters right now. We are slowly getting back to all of our starters here. Christian Javier is back, but he had a tough first game. So we're looking for some stability from these starters, and taking our most stable and most effective starter out would not equate to wins for the Astros. That would be really difficult for them to continue to win games with Ronel Blanco out and with that pitching spot forfeited and no other reliever being able to come out of the bullpen for those games. So yeah, that is not ideal. While I am optimistic that this isn't illegal sticky stuff, that this is sweat and rosin, I believe even if it is sweat and rosin, I don't think the league would be like, you know what, our bad. Whoopsie daisy. We're not going to suspend anybody. We're sorry, Ronel Blanco. We're Major League Baseball and we're nice now. No, I feel like even if it is, quote unquote, not an illegal substance, but a foreign substance, but it is sweat and rosin, I have a feeling that they would still suspend him just the same. Maybe they would be gracious enough to just suspend for 5 games, but I'm not even optimistic about that. That's not the way this league is. They don't like admitting fault. They're always trying to save face, and they don't care about the players or their fans. This is neither here nor there, but just to bring up, because I'm pooping all over the league, and I want to continue to. There was a story about the Chicago Cubs, and sorry, Cubs fans, I do know plenty of Cubs fans. You're all generally good people. You love your hot dogs and your beers. But yeah, I like Cubs fans. So this is not against Cubs fans as much as it's against the Cubs organization in Major League Baseball. Just to be clear, we have to be able to distance ourselves from our organization sometimes, to know that you hate the organization or you hate the governing people of the organization, whether that's a country or an organization. You don't hate people. That's silliness. That's foolishness, the Cubs organization, they had a big school field trip that came to Wrigley Field, and they have a policy where they don't do paper tickets. You have to have a digital ticket on your cell phone. So now this poor school and their field trip was shuffling to try to figure out a way to give every child their own phone so that they could have their ticket up and ready to go, so they could be scanned into the field into the into the stadium for their field trip. And I don't know if you've ever been a chaperone on a field trip. I used to be a substitute teacher way back in the day now. So I went on lots of field trips. I also was a PE coach, which was fantastic. I didn't do as many field trips when I was a PE coach. Obviously, the whole job is a field trip. Well, for me, I worked in primary school, working with the younger kids. It was a cakewalk for me. It's hard work for a lot of people. I'm not trying to belittle the profession. I loved it. I had a good time. The skill sets I have really lended themselves to making an easy job for me. But coaching is hard work, especially the older kids get. But for me, it was a cakewalk. So every day was a field trip when I was a coach. But when I was a substitute teacher, when I was teaching, I loved going on field trips. But it is wrangling cats. I can imagine those teachers hated the Cubs that day. In fact, the person that wrote I believe it was some social media post that went viral. I don't remember the site, but the person that posted it even said, after being a lifelong Cubs fan, they have switched their allegiances. They are now a Southsider. They're now a White Sox fan. So, the league doesn't care about its fans. They don't care about its people. They don't care about its players. They only care about the product and making money. The product that is seen on TV, I should say. It's unbelievable how terrible this league can be at times, how terrible these organizations can be as teams. We just have to keep holding their feet to the fire and demanding better from them. But when it comes to the suspension, I really feel like they're not going to have any kind of leniency whatsoever. The best thing that I can hope for and Astros fans can hope for is that they can kind of clear us of the charges of sticky stuff and just admit that it was rosin and sweat. If I have to eat my words and it was some kind of sticky substance, I would be shocked. And here's why I would be shocked, folks. Obviously, the cheating can happen. There's a lot of people always looking for the competitive advantage. That I am not naive. I understand that this happens in sports. Okay, Mike O'Connor and other podcasters that are like, you'd be naive to not say that cheating, this can't be cheating, that cheating doesn't happen. Yes, you would be naive, but also this would be insane if this is the case, because I don't know if you guys watch all the games. I always watch all the games. I watch every pitch, every inning, even if I miss the game or just, I go back and watch it later that night or I catch it the next day. If you're not watching, if you haven't been paying attention, the umpires check pitchers between innings. They check their gloves. They check their hands. It's this whole weird moment. It looks like the umpires have some kind of kink. They go out there and they just rub the glove. They rub the player's hands while staring intimately into their eyes. It's a really weird rule that I do. All joking aside, I do understand why they do it. I do understand that there's some people that are like, well, I don't see them do it between every inning. I don't see it all the time. Yeah, you don't see it all the time because they don't put it on camera, you dunce. When you go to the games, when you watch the games live, all the baseball games that I've seen live since they've cracked down on the sticky stuff, the umpires are checking every inning. I mean, they're getting deep. They're getting in between those fingers. They're asking the questions to the pitcher. What do you like on a first date? It's a really weird moment. They take it very seriously. As all joking aside, they take this very seriously. They check in between every inning. They check the pitchers. They've had a huge crackdown on this sticky stuff, right? So, Ronel Blanco has been checked for sticky stuff. I mean, so frequently this season, right? Yes, I've seen it happen. We've seen him, even in this game, get checked between innings for sticky stuff. So you're telling me Ronel Blanco, who is a 30-year-old pitcher who's been trying to break into the big leagues for quite some time now, is finally made the roster. He's on the team. He's in the rotation. He pitched a shutout game. He's having no hitters. He's having great starts. He's pitching out of his mind. He's working his way to getting a big major league contract, and he is going to jeopardize all of it in the fourth inning, pitching against the Oakland A's by putting sticky stuff inside of his glove. I don't buy it. I don't understand it. I don't think that that is something that any logical person would do. Now, there are lots of illogical people in this world. There are lots of people that will do foolish things. I'm not so naive that I don't get that. But I'm just saying, if you were Ronel Blanco, you would not go out onto the field with sticky stuff and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to get caught. And also, why would you just start using sticky stuff now? If you have been playing clean, if you've been getting your hands checked, you've been getting your glove checked, and you've been having great results, and all of a sudden, against this game and against the A's, you're like, well, I'm going to need a better advantage. I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I feel like Ronel Blanco has too much riding on him for him to just start using sticky stuff if that's not what he's been doing this whole time. And it couldn't have been what he's been doing this whole time, because if that's the case, that means that all of these other umpires have just been seeing the sticky stuff, winking at Ronel Blanco and being like, don't worry, you're our guy. 30-year-old pitcher, converted relief pitcher from the Dominican League that we've never seen in our life and have no financial stake in. The league will protect you. I don't buy that. I don't think that Ronel Blanco has been using sticky stuff, because, yeah, that would mean that all those other umps are just giving him a pass. And no offense to Ronel Blanco, he's creating a mythology around himself right now, but it's not like he's one of the most well-respected players in the game, or somebody that the league would be like, okay, we gotta make sure we take care of Ronel. He isn't Aaron Judge getting specialty balls being thrown out there for him so that he can get more home runs. That isn't what is happening right now. So I don't buy that. And I really don't buy that Ronel Blanco would all of a sudden decide to start using sticky stuff in this game, in this juncture in his career. Now, I would buy it if Ronel Blanco came up to the league. He had a no-hitter. He came out of the gate wonderfully. But the Astros are struggling, and he starts struggling. If he was kind of like Hunter Brown and putting up Hunter Brown numbers, or, something like that, and then all of a sudden got caught with sticky stuff, I'd be like, oh boy, oh no, this isn't good. But the fact that he's been so successful doesn't make any sense to me that he would be cheating. I'm going to say exactly what I said to Trump when he came out with those ridiculous, hideous gold sneakers. I'm not buying it. I just don't buy that this is a cheating story. I think that this is the umpires kind of making a big deal out of something that they completely didn't understand. I do, as a human being, I kind of do feel for them. I've also, I've had a lot of crazy jobs, folks. That's what happens when you've been in the entertainment industry as long as I've had. You end up picking up some gig jobs. You always are, you get like one big check a year, and you start to panic. You're like, oh no, what if this isn't going to be enough to float me? I got to get another job. So I've been an umpire. I've been a ref. I've umped some softball. I've reffed soccer. I've reffed basketball. A lot of these positions that you're in, you do have to make a quick decision. You do have to figure something out. I obviously in these leagues, I never caught anybody cheating with sticky stuff in a softball game or anything like that. But, I do feel like they just weren't sure what to do. They knew it wasn't an illegal substance, but they also knew it was sticky. So they didn't know what to do about it. I think the high humidity in Houston, Ronel Blanco's prolific sweating, and a mixture of rosin and gravity created a pool, and they just were reactive. These reactive umpires are definitely making baseball and life hard for the Houston Astros right now. I really hope and pray that Ronel Blanco didn't do anything to create a reservoir of sticky stuff in that glove, because it would just be a bad look for the Astros. I'm hoping this is all just incidental and he wasn't trying to get rosin and sweat in his glove, because even so, then it's going to be a thing about, okay, well, how much of his effort has been helped by his rosin and sweat, which wouldn't even be a fair narrative because everyone else is using rosin and sweat. It's just that he had it in his non-pitching hand, which I still don't understand. If you can use rosin and sweat on your pitching hand, but you can't use it on your non-pitching hand, I just don't understand it. But I mean, maybe I am missing something here. I really don't know. If if you are a major league pitching coach, if you have been a collegiate pitcher, even though I played a little bit of baseball, I never. Even in this podcast, I say it's a fan podcast. I'm not a baseball player. I used to play baseball. There is a difference, But when I was a player, I wasn't a pitcher. I wasn't good enough to be a pitcher. You have to be amazing to be a pitcher on a team. You have to be one of the best athletes. I never was that guy, So I don't know. How sweat and rosin completely work together when you are getting those grips. So, I am humble enough to listen to players or people that might have more expertise, but I just don't understand it. I don't get it. It seems like much ado about nothing. To quote the immortal bard. That's right, folks. You get it all here. I'll reference Obama. I'll reference Trump. I'll quote the immortal bard. Everything on this podcast, folks. So get ready. I felt so awkward. Yeah, in the last podcast, I quoted Obama, and I didn't do it in a way where I was like trying to do it inspirationally. I was just like trying to say this quote, and I remembered that it was an Obama quote. So I was like, maybe I'll bring up Trump this podcast. We're an equal opportunity offender here at the podcast, folks. We like to mention and make fun of everybody here. This is a baseball podcast. This is a comedy podcast. So. Calm down, everybody. These are the jokes, folks. But until we get more information about Ronel Blanco, it will be a lot of speculation. There will be a lot of memes. There will be a lot of silliness. But we're hoping the league does the right thing and clears Ronel Blanco of these charges. If Ronel Blanco is found guilty, if they don't free Ronel Blanco, I will definitely hold a walkout. We will do a walkout, folks. All together, we will walk out of our jobs. We will walk out of school for Ronel Blanco until he was free. So stay tuned. With all that being said, what I really wanted to do more than anything was come onto the podcast today to talk about the game yesterday. I really wanted to take last night off and just enjoy the game, enjoy my time with my girlfriend, and enjoy my time with my dog. But because of everything that happened, all the drama in this game, I had to at least write an article. You can go check that out on the Substack at spacecadetsports.substack.com. But yeah, let's just kind of get into this game, because this game was close. Game was a close one. This game had so much dramatics in it. It was a low-scoring game and a pitching match for sure. I said that the Astros would have to get to the bullpen to really win this game. They did good to get to the bullpen. JP Sears only pitched 5 innings, but their bullpen was fantastic. They had a great game. The Oakland Athletics bullpen did because and so did the starting pitcher. Even though we were able to get the starting pitcher to throw a lot of pitches, we did get him out in the 5th inning. But the Astros' offense was pretty miserable yesterday, outside of Alex Bregman, believe it or not. So on top of organizing a Ronel Blanco walkout, if anything should happen, I also will start organizing an Alex Bregman apology tour for some of you folks out there. I'll at least print out a form, an Alex Bregman apology form, where you could say you're sorry to Bregman for ever doubting him. Bregman hit another home run. He now has 4 home runs on the season. Hit that home run in the 2nd inning. He was 2 for 4 in this game with 1 RBI and only had 1 strikeout. Alex Bregman and that bandana, it looks like it's all coming together, folks. So I am wearing a bandana today. I hope you're wearing a bandana as well. This bandana Bregman is definitely where it is at, and I'm really hoping. We're really hoping that John Singleton starts turning it around here. He had a rough game. He didn't get any hits this game. His average is going down. His average is 213. His OPS is still pretty decent at 682. But we do want that average to go up for him. Just because I was really hoping I can call them bandana bros. So hopefully, I really want Singleton to succeed, not just because we're huge fans of him here, but because Bandana Bros, that'd be so fun to call them. So yeah, we outside of Bregman, we also got some hits from we got literally single hits from Tuve, Tucker, and Diaz. We had a total of 6 hits as a team with just 2 RBIs and just 2 walks and a high strikeout of 11 strikeouts in this game. The Astros were pushing. The Astros were swinging outside the zone. Also got a little bit of help from the umps at times, but that's just part of the game. You know how that goes. But it is frustrating to see in a low-scoring game where there's some balls that you're just hoping are called for balls and they're called for strikes. It was a tough game for the Astros offense. That's for sure. It was a tough game for the Astros pitching as well. Obviously, it instead of just going on about what a tough game it was for everybody, we can just zip ahead to the 10th inning. In the 10th inning, I was sitting there just saying, like, come on, this is a moral victory, guys. We need this victory. We need this moral victory. We need this ball don't lie victory. And in the 10th inning, we had Cabbage as a pinch runner on second who was pinch running for Singleton. Started off the inning there. And then we had Jake Myers at the plate who was showing bunt. It was super dramatic. So, the Myers came up to the plate right when the pitch clock was about to run out. This Oakland A's coach comes sprinting out of the field to go talk defensive alignment with the A's. The A's started prepping for Jake Myers' sack bunt. Jake Myers was showing bunt, but the Athletics pitcher had trouble throwing a strike. Kelly there definitely struggled in that moment. Almost walked Myers. I really think perhaps Myers, if he would have laid off of one of those bunt attempts, might have been walked. That's not how it played out, though. Myers worked himself to a full count and was able to get a swing and advanced Cabbage from second to third. And then Dubon was up to hit, and I think this was a brilliant move. This has happened a couple times before where manager Joe Espada, pinch hits Caratini for Dubon. Not only is Caratini a left-handed hitter, but Caratini also, I feel, I get better. Like, I think Dubon is a much better bat on ball type hitter. He's able to get his bat on the ball, able to get a hit. But Caratini, I believe, is able to place the ball better. He's able to wait for the pitch, to have a little bit of patience, to wait for what he is able to hit so that he can get the hit that he wants. The infield playing in, Caratini was looking for a ball that he could just drive to the outfield and just get a hit. And while I think Dubon is an excellent hitter, he's great with with runners in scoring position. He is more of like just get the bat on the ball and try to get the hit and let it land where it lands. We couldn't, we wanted to win the game. We wanted to get just a very decent hit and a patient at bat. Caratini was a pinch hitter, and I mean Caratini is just nails. This is his second walk off of the season, and he is really growing his story here in Houston. We love to see the backup catcher hit. We love to see him pinch hit. This guy's a professional hitter. He's a professional pinch hitter. We love to see it. He won us another one. We love Victor Caratini here. We needed that win just for the moral victory, just for the ball don't lie victory. Josh Hader, ended up picking the W, and Kelly, the pitcher for the Oakland A's, ended up picking up the loss. So moving over to the pitching real quick, obviously for the Athletics, they had a pretty decent game. I thought it was pretty funny. I think it was Austin Adams. Austin Adams was really fired up out there in the sixth inning, just really kind of going nuts, pumping his fist, taunting the crowd. So, Adams, I see you out there, bro. Don't worry. I'll have plenty of ways to make fun of you, man. It's kind of funny. I thought Austin. I like to see a player fired up, but to see him fired up in the sixth inning and to see him fired up against the Astros and taunting the crowd like some kind of poor man's methed out Jim Henson. It was kind of funny. I do appreciate the enthusiasm, but bro, you're looking silly out there. You play for the A's, right? But then, oh my gosh, Erceg came in. He was a great pitcher. And Mason Miller, this kid, he's a 25-year-old pitcher. He threw a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. Oh my God, he looked scary out there. I was worried. He got 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. Hopefully, because he pitched so much against us already, we will not have to see that kid going forward for the rest of this series because that guy looks nails. Big ups to him, and shout out to Adams for being a clown. But their bullpen is good. So we were able to outlast their bullpen arms and get to Kelly, and it was good to see. Now, for the Houston Astros side, obviously, Ronel Blanco was only able to pitch 3 innings. So with the potential for Ronel Blanco being suspended and with how the Astros hoping to use a 6-man rotation for this huge stretch of games, it would be in the Astros' best interest to not use too many pitchers this game. So after Seth Martinez had a long outing yesterday, manager Joe Espada decided to go with Taylor Scott in this situation. And Taylor Scott was great. Once again, he pitched 2 innings for us with 3 strikeouts, with zeros with everywhere else on his stat line. Taylor Scott is him in that middle relief right now. It looks like he's a guy you could easily ask to do 2 innings for you there. You love to see it. We need that, like I was saying, since the beginning of the season, I thought the middle relief was where we're going to have the biggest question marks. It's where we had the biggest question marks because we didn't know those guys' names, but the problems have definitely been in the starting pitching and the back end of the bullpen. So it's good to see Taylor Scott have another great outing so he could just keep building on that and hopefully just keep giving us the great results that we need out of that middle relief. So he got us through to the 5th inning and the 6th inning. Essentially, Espada goes with his script. He puts in Monty. Montero comes in and he gets his 6th hold of the season and picks up 3 strikeouts. You love to see it. Monty is out there throwing gas, pitching his heart out. Abreu came in the 7th inning. He picked up his 8th hold of the season. He didn't get any strikeouts. It was a little iffy feeling there. My nerves were high. It was a game I really wanted to win. He did give up a hit, but he was able to get out of the inning and obviously get the hold. So I was very nervous watching this game. I think, I joke around about the panic meter, the official Space Cadet Sports Houston Astros panic meter that we do here at the podcast and the blog. But I was truly panicking because we needed this win. It's very important when things like this happen, I believe, to get that moral victory, to get that ball don't lie victory, to get that winners win type victory so that when the haters come out, you're like, the ball don't lie. We won the game. Come on, baby. What you got to say about it? But I was very nervous. I really wanted this win, folks. In the 8th inning, Presley came in. Presley has been overused, I believe. And I don't think that is something that Espada is trying to do intentionally as much as that Presley is one of our high leverage arms and we've been in a lot of high leverage situations and we need this guy. I just think that Presley, a little bit of age, a little bit of stuff diminishing, I think he's really feeling it. And he had a tougher game this game. He did give up a run, and the game was tied. He got a strikeout, and he gave up 2 hits. His stats are still, not. We were thinking they were moving in the right direction. They're still hovering around some bad areas. He gave up his 3rd blown save of the season, and I think some people are starting to hit the panic button on Presley. I think it is a little soon. I think it is a little early. I think he's being overworked and he's still not comfortable and confident in his new position. I don't think there's any kind of bad feelings about it. I just think he's still working out some kinks. And we wish he wasn't working out kinks anymore, but that's just how it is. That's the reality of the situation. I don't think we panic on him yet. I think we just try to rest him more. I think there is some kind of back strain or back issue, but potentially it isn't as bad as they say it is because they're trying to save face for him. We know that's a rumor out there, but I think he's feeling it, you know. It's a tough job. He's working out the kinks and he wants to be successful. So I think what the best thing we could do is to get Presley a little bit of time off, not have these close games, or if we are in these close games, you know, now that Abreu's playing a little better, maybe, you know, every now and then we give Abreu the eighth and we give Montero the seventh, and maybe mix in Taylor Scott or Seth Martinez in the sixth or something like that. I really don't know, but I do think that a little bit of extra rest for Presley is needed right now and might be needed the rest of the season until we get him going. After the eighth, we had Hader come in, and Hader came in the ninth. He got us out of the ninth, was able to keep the game tied. And when we were going to extra innings, I was thinking, oh boy, you know, is this going to be Dubin? Who, you know, I'm kind of looking at the bullpen and kind of looking at the future, especially the future with potentially no Ronel Blanco, and wondering who do we even use here. Luckily for Espada and for the Astros, Hader went out there for another inning. He was able to pitch 2 innings in total. He got 3 strikeouts with just 1 walk, improving his stats, picking up the win. He's now 2-3 on the season. Hader obviously, you know, probably pitching 2 innings is not his favorite thing to do, but he'll do it for this team if it means winning. You love to see it, folks. Obviously, I think, you know, if the team was feeling optimistic about having Ronel Blanco back, it'd be an easier decision to bring in another pitcher there. But Hader stepping up for the team and getting the win and winning this moral victory for us was nails. It is what we needed, and you love to see it. So the Astros do end up winning this game. Exactly what the doctor ordered for this absolute spiraling out of control game. And yeah, going forward, I think, you know, really until we figure out what is happening with Ronel Blanco, we really want to keep our bullpen use as light as possible. Today, we have Framber Valdez on the mound for the Astros, pitching against kind of an unknown pitcher, I should say, in Aaron Brooks. He's a 34-year-old pitcher for the Oakland A's. He has not pitched in the majors since 2022 when he pitched in the National League with St. Louis. He did have a stint with Oakland in 2018 where he only pitched 3 games. But, you know, he's kind of bounced around. He's been a journeyman pitcher. So hopefully we can feast on Aaron Brooks and we're not surprised to see what he has and take a while to figure him out. Hopefully they can feast and really get ahead of this game and put it away so that Framber Valdez can go deep. We need him to have a deep game. Honestly, I'd love to see Framber Valdez pitch 8 innings today. It would be incredible to see him pitch a complete game. Don't get me wrong. If that's on the table, I'll take it. But I'm saying I'd love to see an 8-inning outing from this man. It would be exactly what the doctor ordered. And yes, I guess I'm calling myself a doctor in this instance. So you do want to see that. The Astros have also announced for the next game after that Christian Javier will be starting. And he will be starting against a young pitcher that has had a good game to start this season. He has a career, this pitcher, Joey Estes, also has a career 1.07 whip, obviously just on 3 games, but for a young pitcher, it seems like he does have good stuff, so that will be a challenge, I think, as well, to try to make sure we tag that pitcher up. Right now, we need to sweep this team. I said that we could. I said that I'd be happy with 3 out of 4, that as my prediction, but I think right now, it would be in the Astros' best interest to sweep this team, get those wins, go up the standings and kind of quiet this narrative a little bit. Right now, believe it or not, it's not quite as bad as you think. We do have a 17-25 record as Astros fans, yes. But if you look up the standings here, we're only 5.5 games out of first place for the American League West. If we can win these games, and if we can win games against Seattle, if we can win these games against the Angels, the Astros will really be gaining ground, and they could even potentially be towards the top of the division at the end of this month if they can win these games in the division and win some series. So there is optimism to be had, but it's cautious optimism, because if we have Ronel Blanco suspended, pitching will be tough. We will need stellar outings from all of our starting pitching. We will need stellar outings from the back end of our bullpen. And that has been real hit or miss lately. So we definitely have some optimism, but it is cautious optimism, because if Ronel Blanco is suspended, it will make that road to the top of the West that much harder. However, we have Oakland directly in front of us with 19-25. We're playing them right now. If we win these other 2 games, we will tie their record. That's great. Second place in the West right now is Texas. Texas, check it out. They're 22-22. They're right at 500, folks. So right now the West has been pretty weak. Seattle lost a game yesterday. They're now at 23-20. You love to see it. If you look at all the teams in the West right now, everyone is on a losing streak except for the Astros. Now, obviously, the Mariners just lost 1 game yesterday, but technically we're calling that a losing streak for this narrative, folks. So everyone at least has lost a game recently, besides the Astros. The Astros are on a slight 3-game winning streak, and if we can just keep pushing that forward, that will help us rise up these rankings. It's exactly what we need, because the wild card race will be very tight this season. We need to climb up the West, and we need to try to stay at the top of the West division, and that's going to take some fight from the Astros, and you really hope we can see it, folks. Also, now, one last thing of note, I think while Bregman is improving, the league is coming out with articles that the Astros could be, potential sellers at the end of the deadline. A lot of teams are frothing at the mouth to get Alex Bregman on their team. Just the potential, the idea that Bregman could be on their team is making these teams excited. So it's so funny, they're cheaters, they're terrible people, they're awful, until there's a potential for them to be on somebody else's team. And then hey, that's a good baseball player. Really, you got to look at the defensive metrics. Really, so it's funny to see all these teams and fan bases talk themselves into players that they say that they despise for the rest of their life and would murder if they ever saw in person. All of these things that they say, all of that hate, it's just smoke. It's nothing of substance. They're just haters, folks. So you take that with a grain of salt. Now, folks, we've got to pray for Ronel Blanco. I'm calling prayers. I'm going to ask my mom to pray for Ronel Blanco. We need him to be cleared of all charges. Free Ronel Blanco. If they don't free him, folks, we're going to have to walk out. We are going to have to protest. We are going to have to figure out a way to free Ronel Blanco. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast for today. Thank you, folks, for listening to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. You can find the Substack and the blog and all the memes, all the podcasts, all the silliness at spacecadetsports.substack.com. You can find us on social media, where there is a light presence right now, honestly, because it's a lot of work to do this, and to try to do social media on top of it is a lot more work, but you can find us on social media. Let us know what you think at Space Cadet Sports on Instagram and on TikTok. You can find me personally if you want to come at me and talk to me about sicky stuff and rosin and sweat, and if you want to talk about the sweatiest Astros of all time, talk to me. I'd love to. Maybe Jay Powell is up there, although his sweat wasn't like physical sweat. He just looked like he was shaking all the time, like he was Tom York in Radiohead or something. But if you want to talk about sweaty Astros, find me on social media at Paul Salazar JR on all social media platforms. I always love talking baseball. Thanks so much for listening, folks. We really do appreciate it. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the blog and the Substack. Give us a rating, a 5-star rating. We really would love to see it. Pass this podcast off to other Astros fans that you know like to be optimistic about the team. We're trying to build a positive community of Astros fans that like to cheer on the team as opposed to hate on everything else. But we will do a little light hating. Don't worry. We'll have some jokes. We'll have some memes. We'll have some fun and goof off around. But share this with your Astros friends. Let them know that we're out here in these streets trying to free Ronel Blanco, trying to get some bandanas on us so that we can have a bandana Bregman game, folks. Let's get some more Beggy bombs. Let's free Ronel Blanco. And as always, vamos Astros.